Hello, welcome back to LARK UK. Today we are doing a shoe jargon buster, so I'm going to go through all the acronyms, all the phrases that people use, especially myself, whilst reviewing shoes, in case those that aren't aware of what all the jargon and the phrases we use, what they actually mean. Let's get on with it. Let's cover all the jargon and bust all the nonsense. So yeah, I've come to realise I do quite a few shoe reviews during the year as I'm progressing through my training. Obviously I do updates and review each shoe in my rotation, and then I realised I basically come out with all these phrases that obviously is common knowledge for those in the know, but obviously for any new runners or beginner runners or those that aren't massively up on their running shoes, they just basically grab a pair and stick them on. You won't particularly know what all the terminology that I use actually means, so today I'm just going to do a quick information video, just a bit of a jargon buster video, and go through all the main kind of phrases I come out with, or the main kind of key points that we talk about whilst reviewing shoes, and then that hopefully help you get a bit more in the know in terms of what they mean and what we're talking about when we're actually reviewing shoes. So I'm going to make it as quick and painless as possible. I'm going to be using my Brooks Ghost 14 whilst doing this. I've just done a quick review of this shoe, so I've got it at hand, so I'll do it now. Some of these beginning ones are going to be quite easy and basic. I just wanted to make sure I cover all bases. I don't want to assume anything. Again, people might not know what various parts of the shoe are, so I'm going to cover all the main terminology bits. The outsole basically means the bottom of the shoe. Traditionally, most will have rubber outsoles, so again this has a rubber outsole, the red bit. There is some exposed midsole, which I'm going to go into next, but your outsole is basically the bottom of the shoe, generally covered with rubber, although some Hoka shoes and some other brands don't have any rubber on. It's just the bottom of the shoe is the outsole we're talking about. Moving on quickly to midsole is the kind of foam in this between basically where your foot goes at the top and obviously the ground. So yeah, the midsole is this, for again in the Brooks, is this dark grey area, which is again the foam. It can be made of various different materials, PEBA or EVA, basically some kind of polymer or plastic or foam goes in there, but that's the midsole, that's what we're talking about, and basically that gives you the squish or lack of squish, but that's what your foot basically lands on, is basically between your foot and the ground. Upper is this top bit, so again basically the fabric material all across the top of the shoe. Again, various different guises. This fabric upper is this one. There's also other shoes that kind of have a plasticky based or cellular based, which means again basically just manufactured. I mean, granted the fabric is manufactured, but yeah, this is more the traditional upper, and again covers basically toe to heel, which are now going to the bit more specific parts of the shoe. So now I'm just quickly going to go into the different parts of the shoe, which terminology I use whilst talking about a shoe specifically. So yeah, heel pocket. What I'm talking about is the heel pocket is basically this space where your heel kind of fits. It's generally this back part of the shoe. Talk about cushioning in terms of the heel pocket, which is basically just this pocket of space that your heel fits in. Toe box is basically the opposite end of the shoe, so it's this kind of front end of the shoe where you basically toe and the front of your foot fit. So the whole toe box is this kind of section here from where basically the bottom of the laces begin and the end of the shoe. This is the toe box. I talk about a roomy toe box. Obviously there's more space in this for wide-footed runners. If it's a narrow toe box, again more of a narrow fit. Heel counter is basically this back bit of the shoe. So heel counter, this particular shoe is a kind of my easy recovery day shoe, has a really robust heel counter. So again we talk about the strength or the robustness of a heel counter. It hasn't got any give. This has obviously got a really solid bit of plastic in there for reinforcement. Other shoes, so like my race day shoes, I've got far less of a heel counter, but basically the heel counter is this back bit in terms of right behind your heel. This is the heel counter and how rigid it actually is. And basically just the last few bits now, I don't want to bang on for too long. Yeah, the last bit are medial or lateral. So we're talking about the lateral side of a shoe. It basically means the outside of the shoe. Medial is the basically middle part of the shoe, so basically the inner part. So if you've got like if I'm saying like the lateral part is wearing out quite quick, it basically means the outer edge. If it's the medial side or the medial part of the heel, basically the inner edge. A drop of a shoe doesn't mean I'm letting go of it. Basically the drop of the shoe is the difference between the heel and the toe. So basically again, it's quite visible on this kind of shoe because this is my largest drop shoe, so you can see it on the screen now. The difference between, obviously the ground stays where it is, so underneath your foot. So my heel is up here and my toes are down there. So this shoe has a 12mm drop, so 1.2 centimetre drop, which isn't massive, but it's one of the largest drop shoes available. Most shoes are generally between the 4 to 8, but generally the 6 to 8 kind of window. Some have 10, some have 9, some have 3, etc. Ultra do a 0 drop shoe. That brand has 0 drop shoes predominantly, so i.e. the heel and the toe are exactly the same height. But yeah, we're talking about shoe drops or heel to toe drops. It means the difference, the offset between the heel and the toe. And that's for you now. So yeah, lockdown. When we talk about lockdown, COVID isn't back. We're not talking about being locked in your house and not being able to leave out. Lockdown basically means how the shoe feels once you get it tied and fastened. So obviously you do your runner's knot, which I'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, you get it locked down in terms of the laces are tied, and how easy is it for you to get your shoe fitting comfortably. So imagine my hands and my foot, gets it fastened in, you tighten it up. How comfortable is your shoe? How easy is it to get that laces to be tightened to an appropriate level, so it's not too tight, not too soft, your foot isn't sliding around. That's what we generally talk about when we talk about lockdown. If I say it's dead easy to get a good lockdown, it basically means how comfortable is the shoe. Does the tongue sit nicely on top of the foot? Is the lacing quite easy to get tied? And basically, yeah, maintain a good fastening in terms of a good lockdown. We used to say lockdown because it's easy to say. Yeah, and the last one is a runner's knot. So I utilise a runner's knot. I didn't utilise it in the early days of my running. I do now. It's a bit more consistent. I have actually done a previous video. I won't go into too much now today. I'll tag that there, the runner's knot video. Again, it was a bit of an information video in terms of how to do a runner's knot. But basically, yeah, you just loop the top last two holes. If anyone's ever noticed what these last two holes are for, they're generally for a runner's knot. So yeah, most laces come up with the lacing loops, and then they just come out facing outwards on the last one. So what you want to do is double it back in and put it inwards on the very last loop. That creates two loops at the top here, as you can see. And then basically you cross the laces back over to the opposite side. And then when you pull them tight and cinch them down, I'll do it off camera, that cinches it nice and tight and basically keeps them laces locked. I utilise them if the laces are long enough. It is a better, more consistent fastening of your shoe. And also the second caveat is once that's locked down, you've cinched them two loops down, that maintains that kind of pressure on top of your foot. So if your laces do happen to come untied, it doesn't automatically get really loose shoe and the shoe doesn't come flying off. It maintains that almost like a fastened shoe feeling with just your laces untied, which gives you a chance to stop, retie them, and it's less faff once you're on the run. But yeah, I've done a full video in terms of runner's knot if you're interested in that. But yeah, that's the basic overview of the Jargon Buster. If there's anything I've missed, if there's any phrases I've come out with or anyone else comes out with and you're not aware what they mean, feel free to drop them in the comments and ask me what they are, and hopefully I'll know the answer to them. If I've missed anything out, I've tried to remember all the key ones and the main ones, especially relating to shoes. But if there's any other jargon or phrases people come up with in terms of running generally, let me know. And I will answer them in the comments. Hopefully that's been of use. Like I said, I'll try and start getting back to these information videos. I want to try and start getting back to the stuff I've not been able to get done whilst I've been focusing on my own training. So yeah, Jargon Buster done. Hopefully that's been of use. Thanks for watching, happy running, and I'll see you all next time.